Eh bien, le bonjour la team JVM, c'est Momo, j'espère que vous allez bien, mais également que vous avez la forme. Nous ne sommes pas au studio, voilà, tout va très bien dans le meilleur des mondes. Effectivement, avec Tamalou, on vient d'arriver à Cologne pour la Gamescom 2025. On vient d'arriver un petit peu dans notre appartement, on est en train de s'acclimater, on a un peu pété internet avec notre installation, mais ce n'est pas très grave, puisqu'effectivement on se retrouve pour une petite vidéo. Je voulais vraiment me centrer un petit peu sur la prise de parole d'Xbox. En effet, la Gamescom n'a même pas commencé, qu'on a déjà des petits éléments qui sont partagés de ci de là. Hier, on a eu un Xbox podcast assez long par ailleurs. On va sauter quelques passages moins intéressants pour aller directement à l'essentiel. On parle du futur de la marque Xbox. Je vois qu'on parle également des ROG Xbox Elite, de l'importance du cloud gaming qui sera d'autant plus importante, mais également le Xbox Play Anywhere ainsi que le fameux partenariat entre Xbox et AMD. On est parti, mettons play et on va aller directement sur la partie qui nous intéresse en premier lieu, c'est le futur de Xbox. C'est à 4 minutes 04. C'est parti, on met ça. Voyons un peu tout ça.
What an incredible job title, first off.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so good. So what can you tell us about what all this means for the future of Xbox?
When we think about the future of the Xbox, we're really focused on how do we put the player at the center of the experience. And when you really look at how modern players play games today, the vast majority play across multiple different devices.
Yeah.
You know, and I can speak to myself as an example. Like I was traveling a lot earlier this year, so there was a bunch of
Évidemment,
games where I would start
les ROG
playing
Xbox
on my
Elite qui sont
Xbox Ally. And then I would
au
come
centre de la
home
communication de
and have
Microsoft et ça va
a full
revenir de toute façon
experience
assez,
when I'm home
assez
on my
récurrente.
console, on my big screen TV. And so what we're really focused on is how do we evolve the Xbox ecosystem to allow players to play the games wherever you want to play them, while at the same time we're continuing to build dedicated devices that are optimized for gaming, like the Xbox Ally or our next generation console. So it's really just focused on how players like playing games in the current environment and just designing and building the platform with them at the center.
I love it. Well, as someone who uses that feature as well a ton, thank you. You can tell how stressful my life is based on what games I'm playing, and if I have a lot of Sea of Thieves, if you see me playing a ton of Sea of Thieves or Starfield or any Bethesda game, really, you know that I'm stressed out. Like that's like my relaxing.
Yeah, you just want to be in the other world.
Yeah, exactly. And,
Évidemment, étant donné que c'est un podcast, ça parle un peu longuement, mais globalement, ROG Xbox Elite c'est la star. Et je vous précise également, parce que évidemment c'est de notoriété publique, hein, on la testera hein, à la Gamescom, bien sûr. On aura quelques éléments à vous dire par rapport à la machine, bien entendu.
Barely behind on the hammock game. I didn't know that was a game changer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sitting in a hammock, catching fish, and Sea of Thieves, that is my summer pastime. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fun. I was playing a game called Citizen Sleeper 2.
Okay.
Which
Yes,
is pretty
I've heard
dark.
of it. Yeah.
Pretty dark game. It's not
Dark
like,
for and you're just like
and I'm just like out in the sun, relaxing, and I'm like, well, actually, I'm on a grim space station of the future.
yeah, a
and
little.
trying to eat. You know.
Yeah, so you know, I want to switch it a little bit to you to talk about the investments in cloud.
Le cloud. D'ailleurs, Microsoft avait déclaré que apparemment le cloud allait un peu changer. Donc déjà, serveur beaucoup plus important, parce que de plus en plus de joueurs jouent en cloud en passant par différents appareils, évidemment.
Cloud gaming is great at that.
Yeah.
So that means looking at expanding Xbox cloud gaming to even more countries around the world,
Donc plus
so
de
that
pays.
everyone can play the games that they love, no matter where they are.
Yeah.
We're not just focused on the living room, you know, although it's really cool. Like my living room, you know, I have an LG TV. We have an app that you can just load and play, you know, your Xbox cloud gaming there. It's pretty amazing not having to like plug anything in or hook anything up. But cloud gaming is great because it's not just about the living room, it's wherever you want to go. So if you're playing on that handheld in your hammock, or you and I are flying a lot recently, maybe not the best place for latency for cloud gaming, but when we get to that hotel, the idea to have all of my gaming library there is going to be perfect, right? So cloud really unlocks that access and community across devices and within communities all over. So it's great stuff.
Yeah, Jason, Ron, on anything to add around how we're extending cloud and PC benefits to more subscribers?
Les avantages, donc ça, il y a beaucoup de joueurs, et ça c'est un truc qui est très important, beaucoup de joueurs qui utilisent le Game Pass Ultimate pour accéder au cloud, et c'est mon cas. Vous me direz en commentaire un peu ce que vous en pensez. Mais apparemment Microsoft chercherait un moyen pour faire une offre qui est dédiée 100% cloud sans passer par le Game Pass Ultimate. Le rendre plus accessible. Et ça pressent effectivement un abonnement dédié au cloud chez Microsoft. Enfin, chez Xbox.
It's really about how do we add more value for our most dedicated players, whether that's things like adding new first party or third party day and date titles to the subscription, the ability to stream your own games, which is a new capability where if you bought a game, now you have the ability to stream it if you happen to be on the go and all your progression moves forward with you, or even things like adding new free to play game benefits. We're really focused on adding as much value as we can to the Game Pass subscription.
Love it. I love it. Or adding a hammock to the Design for Xbox
Yes.
program.
Non, le hamac, par contre,
That's a pin. Like, we gotta talk about this more.
ça va?
I would love to talk about Insiders a little bit.
Les membres
because,
Insider?
well, we've seen a lot happening in Insiders lately, related to playing on Xbox and PC. What can you share about what's going on there and news there?
Je sais pas s'il y a beaucoup de changements pour les membres Insider.
Xbox is investing heavily in how you experience the platform on PC and places like the Xbox Ally, as well as Windows handhelds more broadly. We knew players wanted a better experience, so it started with the team asking ourselves how we could make the user experience feel as easy and frictionless as possible, with our console experience really as the inspiration in most cases.
Yeah.
And when you pick up a device like this handheld, you really want the simplicity and kind of elegance of a console experience, but you want that freedom and power of Windows and open ecosystem underneath it. So on the PC, we've been making a lot of investments that have been kind of continuously rolling out to insiders. I think there's even more coming in the coming weeks.
Ooh.
So the first is really about my library.
Là, ils reviennent sur les updates qu'ils ont partagés assez récemment. C'est un truc qui donc débarque sur ordi portable, donc en l'occurrence Xbox Live, PC, ils l'ont déjà déployé, on l'a déjà testé d'ailleurs dans un journal Xbox, et également sur console, où tu peux voir tous les jeux auxquels tu as joué, quel que soit ton appareil. Donc si tu as commencé un jeu sur PC, tu peux le continuer sur ta console, et inversement, etc. etc. Par contre, je sais pas si ça fonctionne aussi pour le cloud, et par contre ça fonctionne aussi pour Battle.net, etc. Enfin, moi je fais une petite parenthèse les gars, si il y a absolument tous les éléments qui sont placés devant nous qui montrent que la prochaine gen Xbox c'est un PC. C'est OP ou pas? Et que la prochaine console, il y aura plusieurs stores. Tout va dans cette direction. Honnêtement, fait des mois que ça dure, mais là...
For sure.
Or, these devices also have a wide variety of capabilities. Some of them are more powerful than others, but you maybe want to be able to access something that maybe natively doesn't work as well, but cloud gaming can, so you can still go play that game.
Nice, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, surface more of my backlog so I can remember how deep the rabbit hole goes.
La traduction de Google n'a pas trop bien traduit, mais...
That's one of the best things about these form factors is they're like backlog crushing machines.
Totally.
Like,
That is 100% what these handhelds are. That is like,
100%, yeah,
it's so
right.
nice. Achievement hunting, backlog crushing.
Alors des arriérés, je pense... Ouais. Bon.
For me, they started off as a little bit like I'm going to go do my daily chore in Destiny kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yes,
And exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
But then, like, as I played with it more and more, I was like, I really like. You just start looking through your library, and you're like, well, I wonder how this is going to play on this form factor. And so I just end up kind of finding moments to play that when I'm only able to go in my basement or only able to go in my living room, I just wasn't going to get to some of those games.
100%.
Having it on a handheld makes them more accessible. So.
Or to your point, as you said, we've both been traveling a fair amount this year. So there'd be a new Game Pass release and I'd be on the road and be able to instantly download it to my handheld and play it the day.
Ils sont en train de vendre encore une fois l'intérêt de la Xbox Live. Hein. Ah ouais, je suis pas chez moi, mais je peux y jouer quand même. Oui, effectivement.
You don't want to kind of have in your head like, oh, I was playing that game over there or this other game over there, and that's where it kind of lives. You just want to be able to open up the app, see your most recently played games, regardless.
Après, sur le papier, hein, parce que au moment où je vous parle, j'ai pas encore testé la console. Hein. Ce sera dans quelques jours. Mais il y a comme cet aspect effectivement d'avoir plusieurs bibliothèques. Si c'était uniquement du cloud en streaming, j'aurais dit bon ok, c'est plus confortable effectivement que le smartphone. Mais bon. Et puis, il y a aussi cet aspect où, voilà, ils ont dit que c'était natif. Pourquoi pas? Ils ont dit qu'il y avait plusieurs boutiques. Pourquoi pas?
Playing because not only like beyond cloud remote play, beyond like Game Pass surfacing games to me and getting to try games I've never played, I feel like this form factor also like sparked something in me where it's like I'm trying games I never played.
Yeah.
Like I was never a Coffee Talks guy until I...
C'est vrai que Coffee Talk qui m'avait chauffé, j'avais lancé avec le Game Pass.
But like those kind of games are like Pentiment. I loved Pentiment
Pentiment
so
aussi.
much, and that was a perfect that was my fall asleep game. Like play it right before bed for an hour, and that again
Excusez-moi, je bois
some
beaucoup,
games
mais
I
il fait
just
très
don't know
chaud.
that I would have given them as much of a chance if I wasn't just laid up with a handheld, cozy.
Well,
Playing.
in the cozy part, it's funny you mention that because the form factor is something that I can have while laying in bed or when the family.
Alors je crois que c'est après qu'il parle de la...
My youngest daughter and I have been
un
playing
tout petit peu de la prochaine génération.
there's
Un petit peu, ça l'évoque.
unpacking.
Yeah,
I think there's one called My Cozy Bedroom.
nice.
All you
nice.
do is you just
Yeah.
you just set up. She had an.
I know what the game is just from this.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
I don't think I need to describe the plot
Yeah,
to you.
yeah,
Ethan.
yeah,
I think you got it.
Yeah.
So-
It's not a Kojima game.
right.
Yeah.
But it's a great way to kind of play side by side.
Yeah,
And
totally.
Even though it feels like a very individualized device, just
Yeah.
the fact that it's portable means you can have it on these different.
Vous me direz en commentaire, évidemment, mais si je vous ai beaucoup posé la question par rapport à... Je dis souvent à la ROG Xbox Soleil, au Xbox Soleil, globalement, sur l'intérêt que ça pourrait porter chez vous en termes d'utilisation. Est-ce que ça vous intéresse a priori ou pas du tout? Est-ce que vous trouvez ça plus gadget qu'utile ou inversement? Bref, vous me direz un peu tout ça.
And what device you're on. A big part of that investment is our continued expansion of cloud gaming and making that just more accessible to more.
Et c'est vrai que ça fait bien longtemps que j'ai pas joué en cloud gaming sur mon téléphone. Je trouve ça... C'était bien au début, mais c'est devenu, au final, assez peu pratique.
We're also seeing a really strong alignment with developers as well. One of the things that we see is for titles that support Xbox Play Anywhere, they're seeing more play because now the game's available.
Les jeux sont plus joués quand ils sont Xbox Play Anywhere parce qu'ils sont sur plus d'écrans.
Play. And then when I think about Game Pass, in this past year, we had record Game Pass revenue, and we had our all-time high on payouts to developers that participate in Game Pass.
Alors oui, parce que
We're also seeing double-digit
ça paye
growth
beaucoup.
in both our first-party
Paye beaucoup les développeurs pour les mettre les jeux sur le Game Pass.
as well. So whether or not you
Ils
choose
gagnent
to subscribe
beaucoup
to
d'argent avec le Game Pass.
to buy games
La véritable question, c'est est-ce que c'est vraiment rentable et tout ça, c'est une question à laquelle personne n'a de réponse en réalité actuellement. Tout le monde y va de son petit commentaire, mais bon. C'est compliqué d'avoir une certitude sur oui ou non, c'est rentable ou pas.
specifically, right? So, Ronald, I think this question's for you, but Sarah recently announced
Le partenariat Xbox AMD. Bah oui. Nouvelle génération.
obviously, and I'm a little partial. I am
Et t'es totalement partiel, mec.
cards on the table. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So Xbox and AMD have had a decades-long partnership, really innovating and
crois qu'il y a pas
driving
grand-chose de plus que ce
the
qu'on
next
sait déjà.
generation of gaming. And we're excited to continue that relationship as we look forward to the future of Xbox. So last month, we announced a multi-year strategic partnership
c'était le mois
that
dernier?
spans multiple products across console, cloud, PC, and handheld. And we're deeply focused on hardware and silicon innovation and how we can push the boundaries beyond the current generation of devices. But this is
Logique.
really all grounded in the work we're doing to create a unified platform that allows players to play across devices and in entirely new ways. And it's really about ensuring that gameplay is not locked to an individual device or an individual storefront. And it's really just the recognition of, like you said, if we built our libraries across a whole set of different services, we want to put that entire library front and center no matter where you choose to play. So together with AMD, we're designing dedicated silicon and hardware.
Encore une fois,
to
pas de blocage de
enable the next
vitrine.
generation of gaming experiences. And so that means we're investing deeply
Bon.
in the next generation of rendering technologies,
Technologie de
such as
rendu,
neural rendering,
etc.
which will bring a new
Alors ça, le
level
rendu,
of fidelity to the
le rendu neuronal, c'est quelque chose qui
And it's
est
really
aussi
about deepening the immersion,
ailleurs.
between you and the gameplay experience
Immersion.
you have. We're also investing in dedicated silicon to enable the next generation of
Capacité d'IA, le projet Amethyst de PlayStation a le même concept. La course à l'IA pour les prochaines consoles va être très vénère.
surface that developers can actually take advantage of and deliver new kinds of experiences
Nouveau
that
type
they've never been
d'expérience.
able to deliver before. And all of this actually even starts with this year with the Xbox Ally, because the Xbox Ally X has a dedicated NPU, which allows us to start experimenting and trying some of these AI-powered experiences well before we get to our next generation console.
Yeah.
And when I think about it, this really reminds me a lot of the early days of the original Xbox. We had a vision of where console gaming could go, and we believed in this notion of being able
Nous
to
avons une
connect users all
vision
across the world
Connecter les joueurs.
Became Xbox Live. But from a hardware perspective, we knew early on we had to invest in things like a hard drive and an Ethernet port. And at the time, the vast majority of people were gaming on 56K modems.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like out of left field for us to be investing in the hardware. But we believed in our vision. We knew we had to dedicate the resources to have the dedicated hardware there. And so for us, it's really about betting on the future as opposed to against the future. We're really focused on where players are going and where the industry's going. And we want to deliver the right platform to allow developers to deliver on their creative vision.
I like that you brought up the original console comparisons, just because it does feel, with like the way systems on chips have improved and all the other things that you're kind of implementing into this device and looking at, like we're kind of in this jumping point for like handhelds where it's like, I don't want to say a golden age of handhelds, but like it just feels different. It feels like a really good time to be checking these out. Like the sheer, I'm always amazed what I'm able to boot up on these devices.
Faudra faire un de ces quatre, une vidéo sur le retour des consoles portables en vrai, parce que c'est le retour.
What can be in 2025?
On compte pas Nintendo parce qu'ils ont toujours un peu fait ça entre guillemets, mais
kind of betting forward on the hardware. You know, you and I were talking about how we've been in the division for Xbox for like 7-8 years now.
Yeah.
I remember before I joined, you know, I was always an Xbox fan. I bought, you know, the first one, and I remember buying the first one, and it was like, why does this thing have an Ethernet port?
Yeah.
I think I was coming from like a Dreamcast that like hooked up into my modem, but the idea that I had like an Ethernet port at home was like, what is this?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
And then I remember with the 360 that jumped to HD.
la 3.6, il y avait tellement de trucs en fait, il y avait tellement de techno sur 3.6. Personne n'avait très peu de gens avaient du HDMI en vrai. Alors la 3.6 au tout début, c'était pas totalement HDMI quand même, faut le dire. C'était les prises de couleur, j'ai oublié le blaze. Avec un transfo énorme, enfin bref. Mais il y a eu beaucoup de trucs, beaucoup d'innovations sur 3.6. Pour moi, c'est la meilleure génération d'Xbox, littéralement.
The future vision we have, where the industry's going, but even more importantly, listening to developers on where they see their games going, where they see their technology going, what is their creative aspiration, and all that feedback, just like the feedback that we get from players, really comes back to us, and then we say, okay, how do we design and build the best platform, not only for players but also for developers? Because ultimately, for all of us, it's just the games that we all want to play, and we want to be able to leverage the technology to enable these games to be played in entirely new ways.
Totally. It's a good vision. Well, you know, we're talking about the Ally.
L'allié Ally, la console.
In the Xbox community right now. So I wanted to kind of dive into maybe some, kind of switch it up and dive into some quick questions and stuff. The producers were lovely enough to get Copilot to compile a list of the top questions from across forums.
Les questions pour la ROG Xbox Live.
Okay, sweet. All right, question one.
Première question.
Is it comfortable to hold for longer
Alors évidemment, ils vont pas répondre. Alors non, c'est pas très agréable de jouer très longtemps.
And I'll tell you what.
You can pick it up. Feel free.
Yeah, I'm going to pick it up.
Yeah.
So one of the things when I first saw it, it was laying flat on the desk, and you see that like it's a little bit angled,
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
right? And I was like, what is that? Like it should kind of be flat. And then what you realize once you hold it is like the nice counterbalance in the weight, and just the ergonomics feel like the controller that I've been used to, like playing on for like hours and hours in my, cross my more like days and days in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. You can be honest.
Yeah, so it feels really balanced and really comfortable to me. Jason, what about you?
Yeah, exactly the same thing. When I first got my hands on it, it feels very natural.
Nous verrons tout ça évidemment en la testant. Parce que là, c'est Jason Ronald. Alors moi, j'ai rien contre Jason. Il a une barbe soyeuse. J'aime beaucoup ce personnage. Mais il travaille chez Xbox. Nous, on va tester ça. Voilà. On verra. Bien sûr. J'entends bien que ça semble très naturel, ça a l'air plutôt naturel, mais la prise en main, tout ça, on verra tout ça sur la chaîne évidemment.
We're showing how much people are using their devices in take home, and I might have just recently been outed as I had the highest usage out of anybody on the team a week or two ago.
I think you were 36 hours in 1 week.
Okay, I wasn't going to share the actual number, but it's a great example.
I saw the dashboard.
It's a great example of just it feels very natural for me as a player, and it just offers me more hours of the day that I can actually play, even when I'm not in front of my TV.
Yeah.
Tony Hawk's such a great example because it's one where you just have to turn your brain off to like what you're actually doing on the controls because you're like chaining so quickly That's such a good example of if the controls feel right.
Faudra voir sur les longues sessions de jeu, parce que moi j'ai un vrai problème sur les consoles portables, et la Switch ne déroge pas cette règle, quoique la 2 ça va. C'est vraiment sur la durée, quoi. Vraiment, j'ai du mal. C'est pas très confortable pour mes poignets. Est-ce que je fais de l'arthrose? Oui, peut-être.
Ear less, you know, like that's what I would say, which is a good thing. Let's talk about the key differences. Next question. Key differences between the Xbox Ally and the Xbox Ally X.
Sure. So the Xbox Ally is really designed for 720p gaming on the go. So it uses AMD's Z2A processor. It includes 16 gigs of memory, and it includes 512 gigs of storage. So it's really designed to be the more mainstream, more accessible version of the Ally. Whereas the Ally X is really designed for the most demanding gamers who want that premium experience. So that's leveraging AMD's AI.
Alors évidemment, nous ferons en fonction de nos moyens et des demandes que nous ferons. On essaiera de tester les deux. Enfin, quand je dis tester, je parle pas à la Gamescom. Enfin, la Gamescom, oui, mais je parle du vrai test lorsqu'elle sortira.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I believe it. Do you want to talk about what games you're playing on there that are quite demanding?
Ah oui, c'est vrai, c'est quoi les jeux?
It's been really interesting. So we've been
Sur la
playing
Ally X, hein.
thousands of games on the devices. Not me personally, I have not played thousands of games on the device, but everything from Oblastro to Tony Hawk Pro Skater, all the way to things like Expedition 33 or Doom the Dark Ages or Indiana Jones are great examples.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what.
Alors moi, j'aurais aimé voir un petit Cyberpunk, voir comment il tourne.
For all of your games. And as Jason said, even some games, they can be
Et certains jeux peuvent être stream.
because it's just really about allowing me to play the games that I want wherever I may be.
Yeah, yeah. And remote play as well. I know we keep talking about
Et le jeu à distance aussi est présent. Je crois pas qu'ils... Bon, s'ils l'ont peut-être dit, mais c'était un peu passé en dessous.
Remote play a little bit and have people give it a try if they haven't played with it
Le
recently.
jeu à distance, c'est cool, mais je préfère le cloud. Et surtout que maintenant que tu as l'option Stream Your Own Games, le jeu à distance, bon... Après, pas tous les jeux sont compatibles, mais quand même.
Idea that you don't have to know where your games are. You
Yeah.
can just play them, you know, on the device you're on. That feels just like a really natural way to play these days.
Yeah, yeah. I couldn't agree more. I'm also a big fan of remote play. So let's talk about native games offline. Can it play native games offline?
Jeu natif hors ligne.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
To the point of giving the team a lot of feedback, earlier in the year, the team was getting a lot of feedback from me on areas that we could improve the offline experience because there's nothing worse than being on a long plane or being away from an internet connection and wanting to play your games and not being able to. So the team's done an incredible job of really improving the offline experience so that I can easily transition between being online versus offline and not only do my games move with me, but also my progression does as well.
Nice.
So I can be playing a game, advance, get a bunch of achievements, and then when I connect online,
C'est transféré directement.
all of a sudden my achievements are popping on the surface.
Ouais, logique, ouais. Logique.
So the team's done an incredible job really improving the offline experience.
That's great. Yeah, good answer for folks on the go. A
Like,
lot more.
it is. And,
Yeah.
and it's the offline play is a good example of a thing where what you experience on day one as a customer isn't what you're going to experience on day 30 or 60 or 90. Offline play, save game syncing, cloud and remote play, these are all areas of continual investment.
C'est quelque chose qui est plutôt bien fait chez Xbox quand même.
Jason's point, you know,
J'ai jamais eu de problème de sauvegarde, quel que soit l'appareil où j'étais,
here was frustration
globalement.
on offline play. And then you just
Peut-être pour Starfield, j'ai eu des petits pépins,
features into it, and now what you're seeing is like, oh, I was really surprised. I hopped on and all of this just worked.
mais
My save game
nos
synced.
sauvegardes sont
And you're still going to
synchro.
find squirrely areas where it's not, but that's why you keep just iterating and improving
Totally.
every single month.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to interact with a lot of folks that you've been working with on some of this over the last 2 years, and it is like truly a passionate bunch of gamers. Like
Yeah.
they really are digging into the details here of like how to make this the best experience they can.
There's no better way to get somebody to fix or improve an area on the product unless if they want it themselves.
Yeah.
right? Like if they're like, oh
Totally.
man, I was playing a game and then this happened to me.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna go in and fix that.
Yeah.
So kind of cultivating that on the team. We have, a lot of just sessions throughout the week where we just play games together. And that's a great way to kind of find areas to refine and evolve.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and as we've talked about, I mean, hopefully it's coming through. Like, we are active members of the community ourselves, but it's the feedback from the community that really drives our priorities, that helps us define our vision. So we're excited to get the Xbox Ally and all the improvements that we've been talking about flighting and in people's hands, but we listen to the feedback from the community, and that feedback has a direct impact on our priorities. So please just keep giving us the feedback, because ultimately our goal is to just make the best platform possible for players. And I mean, one thing that's really important for us as we think about the future of the platform is really investing in Xbox Play Anywhere.
Play Anywhere, hein, toujours. Qui il y a 4 ans était pas trop la star, et qui sur la dernière conf était beaucoup la star, plus que le Game Pass d'ailleurs en vrai, je crois.
Play Anywhere is what really enables that to happen, with cross progression and the ties into the Xbox network, so that we can really deliver that seamless experience no matter where you choose to play.
Yeah, that's great. Now, the next question, another one I think we've talked about a little bit. Can I install and play PC games from Xbox Game Pass on the Xbox?
Installer des jeux sur PC depuis la console.
Around like where I can play, and we've talked about remote play, we've talked about cloud gaming and native gaming.
Yeah, but maybe we should talk a little bit more about Xbox Play Anywhere. So Jason, maybe you wanted to do that one.
Yeah, so since this handheld is based on Windows, you can download and install any game from the PC catalog, whether that's from
On peut
Xbox,
installer n'importe quel jeu du catalogue PC,
or even from a third party.
ou même depuis une boutique tierce.
So the device is designed and able to play your PC games natively on the device. And then what we're really focused on is how well do these
Donc
games
Steam,
play on the
Epic,
handheld.
Battle.net,
Some games are
Xbox.
designed for controller out of the gate. In other cases, it's thinking about how does it fit on a smaller screen.
Et puis il y a des jeux, oui, où c'est un autre délire.
Titles that play best on the handheld, so that we can let you know as a player what quality of experience you will have. And then over time, we'll continue to work with developers to really design and optimize their games for the different form factors that are part of the Xbox platform.
Yeah, it's not like the work stops when this launches, right? We got plans.
100%.
Yeah.
We have plans. I still have a plan.
Question from the rapid fire questions, and we might have to do a little dance so we don't get in trouble here. But can I connect?
Est-ce que je peux connecter mes contrôleurs au périphérique externe?
So yes. So
Oui, d'accord. Ça par contre, je ne savais pas.
one thing that we are focused on is how do we really improve that experience over time. So to Jason's point, you can absolutely do it at launch, but there's a number of areas that we've already gotten feedback from the team that we're really focused on improving to make it a much more magical experience. And we'll have more to share about that later this year.
Plus tard cette année, ok. D'accord.
Actually, I think this is a nice segue because we're getting near the end of the show, but we absolutely cannot not talk about Gamescom, right? Did I say that right? I hope I did. It is coming up. It's like very, very soon. So, for you guys that are going to be attending or
Et
watching.
là, je vous avoue qu'ils font juste un point sur les jeux qui sont dispo. Black Ops 6, Hollow Knight Silksong, il y aura Indiana Jones, il y aura les ROG Xbox Live. Et puis, je vous rappelle qu'il y aura le boost, en fait, qui sera là. Il y a 2 conférences, d'ailleurs, les gars. Il y aura 2 confs qui seront là, du coup, il me semble que c'est mercredi et jeudi. Donc du coup, notre cher Adrien, bien sûr, les feront, parce que nous serons sur le salon et nous aurons pas mal de rendez-vous. Néanmoins, voilà un petit peu ce qu'il fallait retenir. Beaucoup d'Xbox Live et un tout petit peu de nouvelle génération, avec un petit peu de divagation de ci, de là. Je vous ai épargné une partie du début, parce que c'était surtout à quoi tu joues en ce moment, etc. C'est très cool de savoir ça, mais pour le coup, je voulais essayer d'aller un tout petit peu vers le sujet direct. Évidemment, vous en commentaire, n'hésitez pas à me dire un peu ce que vous en pensez. Cette vidéo a été suffisamment longue, je vous prie de m'en excuser. On vous retrouve très très vite sur la chaîne pour de nouvelles aventures, en l'occurrence dès tout à l'heure. En fait, voilà, pour de nouvelles actualités. Et évidemment, on se retrouve ce soir pour la conférence Gamescom Opening Night Live. Il est actuellement 2h du matin. On va aller dormir. Mais merci beaucoup. Vous, la journée continue. Et il y aura d'autres surprises, d'autres previews, d'autres actus. C'est la Gamescom. On est parti, les potes. Et n'hésitez pas à laisser le petit pouce bleu et à laisser un petit commentaire. La bise, jouez bien et prenez soin de vous. Ciao.